Good Friday morning, folks. Today's Friday, April 26, 2024, and this is your Friday safety meeting, just a year off here. Appreciate you guys being with us this morning. We do this safety meeting 52 Fridays a year, rain, sleet, or snow, Christmas, Thanksgiving, and Easter. Just, everything we can do, we're going to be here on Friday morning to be here in front of you to present this information. My name's Dennis Davis. I work in the safety department here. The safety department is located in the Z building here, ground level, center of the room, right next to the pillar. So if you ever have any questions, comments, or concerns, don't hesitate to stop by and we'll try our best to get you the answers that you need. Great thing about these, one, is we are simulcasting live on the socials, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. So welcome to our folks that are watching live and watching sometime in the future. And of course, we are live here in Springfield, Missouri, and we are simulcasting to our outside terminals in Pittston, Pennsylvania, and Salt Lake City, Utah. So at all of our locations, breakfast is free. So if you haven't ordered yet, jump in line, place your order. Don't go crazy. Get a reasonable breakfast, and we will definitely be proud to get you taken care of. John Blansett and his team at all three of our terminal locations do a fantastic job every single week getting us taken care of. So if you would, just give them a quick round of applause to say thank you for what those folks do. All right, so let's see who we got with us. We'll go east first. Our buddy Rick Ifford is out on business today, so I think we got Richard Brock. Good morning, guys.
Good morning, Dennis. How you doing?
Doing fantastic.
So this morning we got a good crowd here. We got some people coming up from Springfield to come visit us here in Pittston, and we're going to be working on redoing our pre-trip video for those folks that are going through the PSD phase. We're going to be getting a new one up now that all the testing standards are the same at all three locations. And we'll be getting that worked out and doing some other things up here today. But I wanted to introduce you guys to somebody that is a frequent flyer here in the Pittston terminal. And I've got Sean Jones with me. Good morning, Sean. So Sean has been a instructor of the year, instructor trainer of the year.
Yes, sir.
And you've also been a contractor of the year. When were you contractor of the year?
Absolutely. Contractor was about 2 years ago.
Awesome. And when did you come to Prime?
I've been here almost 8 years.
Almost 8 years. And so if you had to give somebody a piece of advice that's a new PSD or new driver here today, what piece of advice would you give them to be successful?
Absolutely. Definitely have trust in Prime. They know what's best. Fleet managers, safety, stay consistent, stay safe, get you as much sleep as possible, and just don't give up and keep pushing for the better, more money. Absolutely. More money and safety.
That's great. Thank you, Sean. I do an orientation class every Wednesday talking to the new folks, and something that I always tell them, there's 4 aspects that I tell you guys to look at. 1 is service, 2, safety, 3 is availability, and 4 is fuel, and not necessarily in that order. So, focus on those things and you guys will do well here at Prime. But thank you, Sean. I appreciate you, and thank you for your service to Prime.
Thank you. Absolutely.
All right, back to you guys, Dennis.
Thank you, Richard, and thank you, Sean. What a great message, Sean. I didn't know what you were going to say, but you hit on 3 things that are so important. First and foremost, trust the system. Trust Prime. 54 years of trucking here. We've probably got thousands of years of trucking when it comes to, putting all the fleet managers and leadership team together. We got a good idea of what we're doing here. The second part is make sure safety is a priority. It's not tricky. Safety's important. You got to do it. And the last one I really like, he said, make sure you get the proper amount of rest. Especially for our new folks that are coming into the industry that are, you're used to going to bed at 9 or 10 o'clock at night and getting up at whatever time you get up in the morning. That's not going to be the same as an over-the-road truck driver. That's going to change. Your sleeping habits may change a little bit. So kind of get your mind ready for that and get acclimated to it. Of course, never drive fatigued. I know service is really important. And we got Steve Lucky over here, and he'll tell you a little bit later. Service is so important. It's what we sell. But, we can't service a customer if you've had an accident and put their product across the highway, or even worse, hurt somebody. So keep that in mind. So we got sidetracked a little bit. We'll go west, Salt Lake City. Good morning, Aaron Ward. How are you?
Good morning, gentlemen. Glad you didn't forget about us out here in the West. Things are going well here in Salt Lake City. We had a great week. The weather's been great. Not got quite a trip to the beach, but it's been good. We do have some weather coming in this weekend, and could be some snow up in the higher elevations, so something to be aware of. Another item that's going on out here, Mr. Hunter and I met with the Utah Truck Association this week and went over the truck driving championship. We're still moving forward on that, and we're excited about that. That'll be June 6th, 7th, and 8th, and that's going to be a great event. We'll have a lot of people here for that. Mike's going to give us just a quick update on the shop out here.
Just touching on what you were talking about, trust the process, trust the system. Maintenance is a system as well. We have processing in place. Right now, we're in a really good spot with capacity in the trailer shop, truck shop. We're able to get you in, get you back on the road when you're needed on the road, pulling freight, making profits for the company and for yourselves. So give us a shot. We're not always going to be perfect, but, we put some processes in place in the last couple of months that we're really working on. So if you're in Salt Lake, feel free to stop by. Get the DM done. We'll do our best to take care of you.
All right. So, Mike, we didn't get all of that, but we trust and believe that it was dynamite information. So maybe we'll have you back again next week, and we can redo that all over again. So probably going to be some May inclement weather in the out west in the Utah area. So you guys be safe out there. And as always, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, step to the microphone.
Thanks, guys.
All right back here, Springfield, Missouri. Good morning. Good morning. Yeah, we got a great crowd today. I think we got a fantastic meeting lined up for you today. I do see a ton of neon vests here in Springfield, Missouri. Of course, I can't see anything. I can see Piston a little bit. But here in Springfield, Missouri, we got a ton of folks in neon vests. That typically means we've got some new folks here. So if you're new to Prime, this is your first week, if you would stand here for just a second and give us an opportunity to properly welcome you to the team. Great. Thank you guys so much. Thank you guys so much for staying in and being with us. And of course, as always, we see a few old faces. I think I see my old buddy, Joey Phillips, and his son, Joey Phillips. Good morning to the Phillips guys. They were on my fleet a long time ago. It kind of makes me feel a little bit old to know that, it's been a long time since I've been a fleet manager. So, but speaking of a long time since you've been a fleet manager, we got former fleet manager John Harden here with me. Good morning, John.
Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. When was the last time you ran a truck?
Oh man, years.
It's been some time.
It's been a little bit.
Yeah. So what do you got for us this morning?
All right. Well, first of all, welcome everybody. Welcome to the new folks here. We appreciate you being here. I know that we did a lot of research on you. So if you're here, you're the best of the best as far as candidates are concerned. We go through kind of a vetting process every week with who comes in, who gets to come back. And, it's a pretty tough process right now. So if you're sitting here, if you're listening out there and you're part of the Prime family recently, you are the best of the best. So thank you for being here and welcome. So, Dennis touched on a couple of things. We've got some weather coming through. We're going to have some weather here, potentially severe weather in Missouri. Please stay on these weather apps. Please pay attention to where you're going. You're going to start seeing, more and more of the high winds, the rain, the flooding, the potential for severe weather. And, as we all know in the spring, that comes up on you really quickly. And, these weathermen and weather women out there aren't exactly always 100% correct on what's going to happen. So, please be prepared. No different than the winter time whenever you've got the potential to to maybe be shut down because of snow or ice or something, be prepared in your truck, have supplies, have water, have food, have blankets, anything like that that you might need to help you if you get into a situation where you're going to need them. So but please pay attention to that weather moving forward. So jump right into the inspections today.
Good.
All right. So last week we had 109 total inspections. 74 of those were clean. So we had a 65% pass ratio. Give yourselves a round of applause. That's an outstanding pass ratio. A couple of things I want to talk about, every week, I didn't look at the inspections this week, but every week, we still have a few not wearing a seatbelt come through. And, we've mentioned it a lot of times up here, as soon as you get into your tractor and that key goes, we turn the truck on, that seatbelt needs to be fastened, right? So that's basic. We're talking about safety. That's for your safety out there. And there's nothing that we care more about than your safety. So please put your seatbelt on before you operate your tractor. Another one that we talk about, speeding. And as everybody knows, our trucks are governed, so we're not getting speeding tickets on I-70 or I-80. Please pay attention to the speed limit signs as you're going into towns. Coming into populated areas, you see it drop from 65 to 50 to 45. Really pay attention to those. We don't get a little, cushion, that 5 mile an hour cushion or anything like that maybe you think you get in your personal vehicle. So speed limit's a speed limit, and we need to be going the speed limit or below, whatever the conditions dictate that a safe speed is for us to travel. So if it's 10 miles an hour under the speed limit, if it's raining, if there's congested traffic, construction, anything like that, we want you to be focused on that, paying attention, going safe speeds out there.
I did get the opportunity to go through the inspections this week, and we had a really good week log-wise, and we're going to have Brennan and Rebecca from the log department start making their way up here. But, I always have to talk about my two that just drive me crazy, the seatbelt that you mentioned. And, we have at least one that I can remember, guys watching the video while he's driving down the road. Watching the dang video while he's driving down the road. And we talk about how this affects our CSA scores, and we talk about, what this does to prime. And the leadership gets on me. Steve Lucky, dang it, Dennis, you keep talking about this. Well, fix it. Fix it. But we're going to fix it. All right. So just to let you guys know, on May 10th, is that right, Jamie? May 10th, we have got a big announcement coming about the technology going inside of the trucks. We've got some new things coming, and we're really excited about making sure that we fix some of these woes that we have. And the real big word is going to be accountability. So, I think Bill Sprague has inched his way up here. Does it mean my time is up, or does it mean, okay?
I just want to bring up something on seatbelts, because I did review them this week, and something we do see with seatbelts is just because you have it on doesn't mean it's not going to be a violation if you're not wearing it correctly. Now, for you new students, let me tell you, when I say correctly, it has to be worn snugly across your body. We have a lot of drivers that'll pull the slack out and leave it draped across their body or down their shoulder. When a DOT officer sees that, that is still a violation. You're still going to get a violation for not wearing your seatbelt correctly. We're still going to get those CSA points. If wearing it snug across your body, I hear a lot of drivers, it's uncomfortable, it rubs my neck. They make all kinds of different sleeves to put on those seatbelts to keep that from happening. Okay, that is a common issue. So look into it, because you have to be wearing it correctly, or they're going to write you the same violation like you weren't wearing it at all. And that's still going to go against us. So just make sure that it's worn properly.
Thank you, sir. You can take it from here. Well, good deal. So thank you, Bill, for that. Obviously, great information. So without further ado, we're going to have Brennan and Rebecca from our log department come on up. Good morning, guys.
Good morning. I'm glad to be here. My name is Brennan. This is Rebecca. And Rebecca, got a question for you. If I have finished up a load and I am relieved of my duties, I'm heading home, should I remain logged into the Qualcomm?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. So even if I'm relieved of my work, I still have a responsibility to safety and to logging legally. We have had a few drivers as of late who have been logging out of their Qualcomms and driving to go home. You have to remain logged in for all the movements that you're making. If you log out and you operate your CMV, what you're doing is tampering. Unfortunately, an officer could write you up. They could issue several tickets for that, and they can place you out of service. If and when we catch it here at Prime, it's going to result in safety disqualification. All right. Now, we want you to be successful. We want you making your loads on time, safely and legally. If you want to be home, we want you to get home. But it's all going to come down to thoroughly trip planning and communicating to make that happen. Now, on the other side of the coin, I want to talk about when you should be logging out of the Qualcomm. So if you put your truck in the shop, you'll need to log out. That way a mechanic doesn't operate on your hours. If you're turning your truck in, maybe going end of lease, log out of your unit. And if you are getting off the truck and someone is taking the truck without you, please make sure to log out. All right. So with that, do I have any questions regarding being logged in, logged out?
But if you're home, you park the truck and it's there for 2 or 3 weeks, you're on home time. It's just sitting there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I would recommend, if there is no chance anyone else is driving the truck, remain logged in to the unit. That way, if you do choose to hop in and you need to run any errands in the truck, you're not going to forget to log in before you do so. And just a little side note here, if you notice any problems with your ELD, if you notice it's not picking up drive appropriately, don't hesitate to reach out to your support team. You've got a 24/7 log support team here to assist, so it's critical you keep in touch. All right. I think that's all I've got for you today.
All right, thank you.
Thanks.
Forgot my sheet here. All right. So, I'm gonna throw you a curveball here a little bit, John. We had a driver come up that said she wanted to say some words. Did I lose her? Carol, come on up. Go ahead. So first, tell us who you are.
Oh, I'm Carol. I'm a driver. I've been with Prime off and on since '08. Once back when Mr. Lacey was still here. God rest his soul. And I had this all written on, because something that was important to me, and I'm just trying to cut it down. If y'all could wait about 5 minutes and let me state my case here. Since that, we've gone through many changes, the first two are became the law of the land with the electronic logs, the switch over. So I gave out 40 days and 40 nights. I'm good with it. And then later on with the California, the Air Resources Board, and that kind of spread across the country, law of the land, that changed the whole trucking dynamics totally. So we've gone through that. And I do want to tell you, I love Prime. I've always loved Prime. It's the best company out here. I think best in the world, matter of fact, not just this country. So we're a family. And I'm sorry, I'm nervous. But it's not like me. I'm a blend-in sort of person. But, we're 8,000 strong out here, last I heard. And that's one hell of a big family, you guys. And we always stick together. We're all riding for the same brand. And that means you watch each other's back and you help each other. Whether it's your fellow Prime driver needs help with the IntelliSet, learning the ropes of the company, or I've been a mon back many a times, and that's just an old term of mon back, and you help them back up and stuff. So, but I've always loved Prime. I've always loved Mr. Lowe's philosophy. And what really sold me early on when I started here was Mr. and Mrs. Lowe. I read a story that they had a gray thoroughbred colt, and his name was Steppenwolfer. And if you don't know, you can still look it up online. but he went on to become Triple Crown fame, and I think he got third in the Kentucky Derby. And just to show you a bit of their character is when he was ready to semi-retire, they had a stipulation and they held fast to it that Steppenwolfer be at a good home and never be sold. And they did. They found a lovely Pennsylvania horse farm, and he spent the rest of his days wonderfully there. And that's what sold me. I knew I'm riding for the right brand right here. So I've been at home ever since. And is my voice shaking? Because I'm scared. Okay, after that, moving on, some other changes. Well, one thing I noticed one time at Hershey's, I was, because I'm a friendly driver, I always wave, especially my family here. Team was backing in, and I waved, went by. And later on, they came up to me and they said, you know what? We've been here for 6 months, and you're the first person that driver ever waved to us. And I thought that's shocking because that's not us. That's not our philosophy. And I can take advantage of being fortunate. There's 8,000 in these highways and byways, and we're a mighty family, y'all. So keep that in mind. That's what keeps us successful because we're tight. It's us and the good versus them. So we got a mighty family out here. So I just wanted to mention that. And the other over the years, three things. It was the personal conveyance kind of cracked down, I'll give that 40 days, 40 nights. My fleet's not on it yet, but it's coming. And I'm just confident that they'll be 24/7. The log department's going to, be there for us when we need them. And so, it's because of a few bad apples make it bad for the entire basket. So that's what I've kind of come to the conclusion of. So gave that 40 days and 40 nights, and I'm going to. So I'm confident with that. And then the next thing the change that we had was, hang on, Dennis. I'm getting there. Let me get on page 3. There was another change. I can't recall. Oh, it was the drive-wise. Now, that was already a done deal. That just popped up on my call column one day. And I didn't even know about it because I'm not on social media or nothing. I'm totally focused on my daily activities. So I gave that 40 days and 40 nights. So the thing is, at night, I don't light my thing up for safety and distraction. So I got to take my hand off the wheel, turn it off, make sure, see if it's look at it a couple times, if it's a yay or nay. And honestly, I'd gladly pay for the pre-pass because I think the drive-wise is less safe and it doesn't apply to a lot of the weigh scales. And it doesn't even acknowledge the agricultural stations in, like, say, Florida or whatever. So I'd gladly pay for it if I'd known it, but it was already a done deal. Now here I thought I was, this third and final one, because I just started back a few weeks ago and a higher up told us about dash cam. Well, I'm happy with that. I wish we'd have had it before because that's our DNA. That's our DNA against those ambulance chasing lawyers because the odds are already stacked against carriers and the drivers. So I think it's wonderful, having that. But then he went on to say the in-cab camera. And now here right now, I think it's already a done deal. I may be too late to have my voice on that, but that's my home, that in-cab thing. And I'll say, the driver's seat and there's sound and it's only work-related and safety, but that's my home, y'all. That's my tiny house on wheels. I live on the road. That's my tiny little sanctuary out there with all the surveillance. But just to know that I have it in my own home, that I can be my own self and, relax and, you wouldn't have it in your own home, surveying your family. And it's just such an Orwellian idea. I was shocked when I heard it and I'm deeply concerned about it, but I'm afraid at this moment it's a done deal, Dennis, and I'm sad about it. And that's it.
Sure. Let's give her a round of applause. Don't go anywhere yet. Don't go anywhere yet. So you said the higher up told you about some cameras, right? All right. Now, did that higher up show you?
He really didn't have to. When I sized it all up in general, it's just an incursion on the last little bit of privacy we have out here, Dennis.
I understand. So here's the opportunity that I'm going to give you. All right. We should be done with this about 9 o'clock. All right. I should probably be back at my desk at 9:15-ish. Let me show you what it is. And then I'm going to offer you the opportunity to get into the pilot program. So instead of speaking about what it could be or what you're scared of, I want you to speak good, bad, or indifferent about what you experienced, what you know. Is that fair? And you don't have to answer yes or no, but I want to make sure right here today that you have that opportunity, because it sounds like you're concerned about it. And we've said probably ad nauseum that privacy of our drivers is on the forefront of all of our decision making. So I want you to see from my mouth to your ears what we're doing. All right. And I want to make sure that you have the opportunity, if you so choose today, to experience it for yourself. Is that fair? Is that fair?
Okay.
All right. Anything else we can do for you?
No, I always love Prime no matter what though, so.
All right. I'll see you at about 9:15, okay? All right. Thank you, Carol. You know, it's not easy to get up here and kind of, talk about things that you're, unhappy about or dissatisfied with the company that you work for. So thank you, Carol, for that bravery. This is what we do. We're transparent. Everybody's watching this. All right. You guys have heard me say this a million times. It's just not Prime drivers watching it. Other companies' drivers are watching it. Other companies are watching it. Our customers are watching it. Our insurance companies are watching it. Our defense counsel is watching it. Plaintiff's counsel is watching it. And we've got nothing to hide. We're right here. So thank you, Carol, again, for coming up and being brave and talking about that. So, all right, John, we pivoted a little bit, so we might be a little bit crunched on time. What do we got next?
All right, we're going to bring up driver health and fitness. We're going to bring up Rachel and Morgan this morning.
Good morning, Rachel and Morgan.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Rachel. I'm the dietitian with Driver Health and Fitness. This is Morgan. She is an intern through MSU. So we're just going to kind of talk a little bit about our last tip for the month. For this month, it is Stress Awareness Month, and so we're talking about our last stress tip. I think we had a little bit of a thing to kind of show up there for you guys, but I'm going to hand it off to Morgan to kind of talk about that.
Yeah, so Monday was Earth Day, so we wanted to talk about the impact of the environment on our stress levels. When we spend time outside, that decreases our cortisol levels, which is an indicator of stress. That can decrease our blood pressure. It improves our brain function. It decreases our risk of developing type 2 diabetes and heart disease and stroke. And there was a study done on drivers that showed that drivers who spend time outside in nature, in the environment, they were doing this in different places around beaches and hiking trails and around lakes and rivers. They had a 16% decrease in fatigue, and that was before the pandemic. When this study was done during the pandemic, there was a 20 to 23% decrease in fatigue. And we know that fatigue is really important for our safety and just overall well-being. And the environment, spending time outside can have a huge impact on that. So some things that we can do are, finding those truck stops that are nearby, places that are really pretty, places potentially if you're going by the mountains, is there somewhere maybe by the Appalachian Trail that you can see a little bit of nature out there? If there's somewhere by a lake or a river that you might have roller skates or a bike or a skateboard that you might be able to enjoy that. If you don't have them yet, then maybe that's something to think about getting on the truck. And it can really have a huge impact on your day. If you're wondering, well, what if it's a day like today and it is disgusting outside? I don't want to go out there. Something you can do is make an album on your phone of all of the prettiest places that you've been. All of these photos of places that were really beautiful and really happy moments when you were able to be there. And that can also have a decrease on your stress levels by just looking at them.
Yeah, well, thank you, Morgan. So yeah, we have a lot of drivers who they make being over the road an adventure. Like they do these things, like they get to trails, they find ways to be active and get outside. And it doesn't, even if you're not able to get to the coolest trails out there, get an hour of walking in or whatever, just getting outside, even just for half a mile a day can be super, super helpful. If you do 32 laps around your truck, you're still getting outside, and that is a mile right there. And if you want to kind of have that competition side of things, if that motivates you, we do have our walking club on our website. So you can go to the Prime app and then go to My Prime Portal and go to DHF, and you can log your miles in our walking club. And as you're logging miles, you'll be on our leaderboard once you reach, a certain level. And yeah, we give you guys recognition for that. So thank you guys. Any questions or anything? And we are just right upstairs if you want to come talk to anyone in the DHF department. Thank you.
Thank you both. That's some great information there. Some pretty interesting statistics as well about just getting outside of your tractor and being outside in the sunshine.
32 times, John. You think you can get that in here after the meeting this morning?
Not this morning. I'm busy.
Always an excuse.
I know.
What do we got?
All right. So next we're going to bring up Trent Ferris in our maintenance department. We're going to kind of transition over here into some upcoming events and probably start moving away from the fuel treatments and move into something spring related, right?
Yeah, we're getting into summertime. So, every spring, late spring, we got to deal with the DOT blitz. So next month between May 14th and 16th is going to be this year's blitz. And this year they're going to be looking at something a little bit different. They're going to be checking a couple of things that we haven't seen before. They're looking specifically at the tractor protection valve. So you guys need to be aware of this and know how to demonstrate, how to show them that the protection valve is working good. It's part of your pre-trip inspection, the 37-point pre-trip that you do every morning. But basically what you're doing is just stabbing the brakes down with a trailer connected and your trailer air released. You're going to press that brake pedal and stab your brakes until your air drops down. Somewhere between 20 and 45 PSI, your brake valve should pop out. If your brakes stay released and you drop below 20 PSI, then that's a violation. That means the protection valve is not working correctly. So make sure you're all aware of that and ready to demonstrate that when you get pulled into a weigh station next month. Another thing they're going to be looking at and watching really closely is your glad hand seals. So guys, this is low-hanging fruit. You guys should be taking care of this already. This is really simple. Every time we're picking up a trailer, make sure you're inspecting those glad hand seals and that there's no cracks or damage anywhere on the rubber. We give out glad hand seals for free here at the terminals in outbound. So make sure you've got some on the tractor with you and that you're swapping those out when they're damaged out there on the equipment. Okay. Every time they do an inspection on your equipment, something that they're going to look at is your tires. So make sure you're doing a really solid inspection on the tires on your truck and trailer, that you don't have any issues. I'm going to pass out some things today, a few presents for you all. I'm going to use the room and ask a couple questions. Raise your hand or shout it out if you know what the minimum tread depth is for a trailer tire or a drive tire. Shout it out. 230 seconds. Yeah. Anybody that yelled out 230 seconds, raise your hand. I've got Matt here with Road Assist that's going to be handing out some tire gauges for you all. What about a steer tire? What's the DOT minimum on a steer tire? 430 seconds. I heard 430 seconds from several of you. Anybody that said 430 seconds, raise your hand. Guys, keep your hands up in the air if you knew the right answer here. You're going to get a tire gauge, okay? Then the last couple questions that I've got here, these are a little bit tougher. Does anybody know when you're going to start seeing really bad irregular wear on your tire? What PSI? When your air start leaking down, when are you going to start seeing bad wear? I got a hand right here. Sir? Does anybody know? Just shout it out. 90 PSI, you got it. Yes, sir. You're going to get a tire pressure gauge to check your tire pressure. Appreciate it. The last question I got for you all is when are you going to start, or when is the tire actually illegal to drive? At what PSI, when you drop down to, are you legally flat? Shout it out if anyone knows. Anyone? 70, I got 70. That's a little bit low, actually. Anybody else? 80. Whoever said 80 is right. If you're below 80 PSI, that tire, as far as DOT is concerned, is flat. It's done. So it can still look like it's holding air. It's visibly not going to look any different between 100 and down to 80. So you've got to make sure you're checking the pressure somehow, either with TPMS or with one of those gauges that I just gave that, sir. So guys, that's really important. That's low hanging fruit. Make sure you're not doing damage to your tires. If they're below 80 PSI, then you are doing damage to the tire, and it's not going to be repairable. Moving on, I wanted to mention, really why I'm here talking to you all in front of you right now, because I do a class every day over at our campus inn. Those of you that are here upgrading, you're going to see me in a few months, or those of you that are going through training, excuse me. When you upgrade in a couple of months, you're going to see me. You'll be in my classroom and taking the pro maintenance class, but I really want to sell this to the drivers that have been here for a while, and those of you that have been on the road for a long time. I want to encourage you guys to come in and do this class also. And I'll make a point. I had a guy a few weeks ago that's been here for about 10 years, not a new driver. He's got 1 million miles, right? He's one of our best drivers that we have in the fleet. He took my class and learned that there is actually an easier way to get to the reefer battery than what he was aware of. He thought he had to open the front doors to gain access to the reefer battery to do a jump start. There's actually a door right there on the side of the unit. So pretty simple, but it's just something that he didn't know. And it's a good idea for everyone, I believe, to come in and do this class and, gain some knowledge. There's going to be something in here, I pretty well guarantee you that you'll walk out that you didn't know before you did the class. Last thing I want to mention on today is not really road assist related, but over in our plaza bays, we've got a challenge right now. California, their Air Resources Board has added a new regulation, and they're requiring stickers go on the front of all of our trailers. And these stickers, it's a real challenge. These stickers have an individual serial number that is tied to a specific trailer. So anytime a trailer comes into our terminal that doesn't have a sticker already, we're going to have to find the sticker and stick it on that trailer. And it is a little time consuming. It's causing some delays out there in the plaza building. So I want to let you know that that's happening and apologize if you do see a short delay. That's what's going on. We're trying to get you guys through and back on the road or whatever you need as soon as possible. Okay. That's really all I have today. I'll open it up to any questions if anybody has anything, but I appreciate all you do out there. Thank you for doing the work that you're doing. All right. Thanks.
All right. Thanks, Trent. Trent's always willing to come up here and talk. Like I said, we know it's not easy, but he gets up here graciously and gives us that type of content and information. So thank you, Trent. So who we got next, John?
Rob, we're going to bring up Heather in our recruiting department. Good morning, Heather.
Hello, everyone. How are you? So I just wanted to talk about referrals and some training and maybe some ways to keep track of your referrals. So my name is Heather Merle. I'm in driver recruiting. And so with referrals, you can make a lot of money. And if you refer somebody, the first load they haul, you get $100. Now, if that referred driver stays 6 months, you get $500. And I'm sorry, let me back up. If they stay 30 days, you get 500. If they stay 6 months, you get 500 and a quarter cent per mile for every mile they drive once they become an A seat and they're driving, they've upgraded. And then if you do that 3 times, you get $1,000. So if you have 3 referred drivers that stay 6 months, it's $1,000 for you. Now, if you refer somebody or referring a student, you might want to think about training them because we do have limited spots available. We definitely want as many applications as possible so we can fill these classes. But if maybe a class is full and you're at your eligibility to train, you might be able to train your referral. It might be a better experience for both of you and the driver because you know each other. So that would actually expedite the process and cancel out our limit that we have for that week. You basically get to skip the line. So trainer lined up, faster start. And then I would say we get a lot of calls about referrals. If it were me and I was referring people, I'd probably send my referral an email so you have a way to keep track of it. Because we have people calling in saying, hey, I referred John. Well, there's a lot of Johns. So if you can just try to keep track, we can try to assist you a little bit better. Now with the people you're referring, if they can start on the CDL permit process ahead of time. Obviously, we want to make sure they're qualified and stuff, but there's a couple things they need to do if they're getting their CDL, and they need to have a DOT physical, as you all know, you all had to do it, and they need a permit. So if they can go ahead and start on that, that would expedite the process as well, because there's a lot of states that do paper permits only good for 30 days. And we're having to wait till they get that hard copy in to even bring that person in. So if we could go ahead and start on that process, that would be fantastic. And it'd be a much smoother process for you. Does anybody have questions for recruiting? Yes.
Hold on, jump on the microphone there.
So I had a my town, there's a place that went out of business
Okay.
and there's a job fair coming up. Can I go there and refer, or how does that work? If I just say, pull my truck and they help people out in my community?
I mean, if they're wanting to get their CDL through Prime, I truly don't think there's any issue with that. I mean, you're not going to set up a table, right? But
No.
you're welcome to hand out your driver code, send a link to apply. If you need a link, call recruiting. Anything else? Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, Heather. Hey, just a heads up for those job fairs, they might charge you to set up there, so be careful for, and aware of the upfront fees, so.
Man, we're running ahead, and what that means is we've got a little extra time. I know you're not accustomed to that maybe, but one of the things I like about this meeting is you come here down on Friday mornings and sometimes you see people you haven't seen in a while. It's great to get reacquainted. What are your thoughts on that? You see anybody like that out here in the room this morning?
Yeah, I was gonna call Aaron Ellis up, our director of HR, but he said he'd fire me if I did that. So I've seen another face that I haven't seen in a while. So come on up here, John Greeley. Come on up here. Let's give John Greeley a round of applause. The reason that we don't see Mr. Greeley up here a lot is because Mr. Greeley is in Salt Lake City.
Manager in Salt Lake now.
All right, so that means you didn't get the email about where to stand. So if you got to stand in front of the exit sign there.
Gotcha.
There you go. There you go. So John Greeley is a fleet manager in our refrigerated division, domiciled in Salt Lake City, Utah. So kind of give us a breakdown of your history here. You got a long history here at Prime, right?
Yeah, I do. I started here in 1999 as a driver. Went into training, trained here for about 13 years as a driver, and then took over a fleet back in 2015. So
talk about your maturation from over-the-road driver to coming in to be a fleet manager. Did they hand you a fleet on day one?
No, they didn't. But I tell you what, I came in here thinking that I was going to change the world. Figured coming in as a driver, working in fleet management, that I was going to have all the answers for everybody. And that turned out not to be the case. And I kept learning, and it took me about 3 years to come in and transition and to get a fleet. I've spent a lot of time on nights, then took over fleet, and I run about 86 trucks now out in Salt Lake. And yeah, it's been an adventure.
So first, I want you guys to know that he's not even working today. John's on vacation today, so I'm not 100% sure why you're here. I'm assuming you're just hitting us up for some free food, right?
Trying for the food.
Okay, fine. But we're glad you're here. So you're actually working now. So great job. And just listening to your story, I like it because it's step by step. You paid your dues. You paid your dues. Nothing was handed to you. You weren't promised a rose garden, anything like that. You came and you did it the right way. So we appreciate that.
Matter of fact, I even took a pay cut to come in and do that.
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
You have to want it.
You have to want it. Now, here comes the tough question. So, you actually on the schedule to talk at this meeting next week, but since you're here,
Yeah.
all right, I'm gonna ask you just a few questions, and I don't want you to go too long because we're running perfectly on time now. And if you go too long, we'll be over on time. Okay. All right. So the last 6 weeks or so, we've had fleet managers come up here and talk to the drivers about their unique perspective on cargo claim prevention. And knowing your history, former driver, worked at nights, now you run your own fleet, a quick elevator speech about cargo claim prevention.
Well, I guess the one thing I could say about cargo is really just taking the time to get in there. And it's not, in my opinion, it starts out with that, you empty a load out. It starts out with that empty trailer. You get inside every time you get done delivering, you get inside, you inspect that trailer, you look, you got to walk the entire thing. You make sure that you've got, the trailer cleaned out, and it really takes the time to get in there, take the effort to get in and inspect the trailer, because a lot of the times we'll have simple cargo claims from, say, blood being in a trailer, that didn't get washed out good enough, so it gets transferred onto boxes. So really it starts with that emptying that load out. But then when you get to the next stop and you're getting your load ready and you're getting ready to get out of there, it's taking the time to make sure those load locks get in there and are braced well. One thing I always tell my guys is to remember, as long as you're not blocking that chute, you can run, if you got a single pallet in there, and a lot of people don't do this, is to run a load lock floor to ceiling, to protect the side of that pallet from pallets falling over. Just make sure you're not pinching off the chute or anything. But, a lot of the claims come from that one single pallet sitting in there and just falling over in transit. Another thing to watch out for is speeds. Critical events, hard brakes can be a big factor in a lot of the damage that occurs from, the pallets falling forward on each other, squishing boxes. Roll stability alerts when you're going around corners too fast can cause those pallets to shift. One of the common things that I get is, well, I wasn't going that fast. The speed limit's 75. I was only doing 65. Well, take into consideration that one pallet in the perfect storm falls over when you're doing 65 miles per hour, and that centrifugal force can pull that entire truck and trailer over. So it's really just about, kind of being really attentive on safety and making sure that the loads and everything get braced well.
That's great information. I'm going to have to Google centripetal force when I get back to my desk so I can completely understand what you're saying. So talk real quick about the live loaded call and how important that is to the cargo claim prevention process.
Yeah, live loaded calls, super important. It gives us as drivers, it gives us a chance to go over everything. I also teach the ACE2 class out in Salt Lake City too. And one thing I always recommend, and something that I did as a driver, is, with my badge, every time I went into a customer, I'd put my badge on. I would also have a highlighter with my stuff. So that way, when I'm there at the desk picking up my bills, I can go over with that. Every bill is different. So you always want to know where the temperature is, where are the weights, where are the pieces, where's the consignee address, and having a highlighter and highlighting those while you're there with a customer shows that you're really kind of representing Prime and yourself well. It's a good business decision. And then that way you get in there and you do that live loaded call. It gives you a chance to go over those again, making sure the temperature is set correctly, making sure you have the correct trailer and the correct location that you're going to. It's just a huge saver.
John, I think you hit every single point, and this is completely unprompted. Take care of their equipment before you get to that customer. Make sure it's ready to use.
Yep.
Make sure that in transit, you're doing what you need to do from a safety and driving habit standpoint to protect it. And finally, of course, make sure you check and double check that paperwork to make sure it's 100% accurate.
Yeah, just remember, Prime, great company to make money for. I've made a lot of money here as a driver and then came in-house, and I'm making good money again. But we can also lose money just as easily by not double checking things. And that's what it boils down to. A lot of us go into the lease program. That means that we have kind of raised our hands and said, hey, we want more responsibility. And that responsibility also comes with potential cost. So it's really just double checking and protecting your business.
All right, you've let us know from a claims prevention, and John's making his way back up here. That means we better hurry up. But real quick, we've got a ton of new folks here, and like I said, you've got a unique history here. You've kind of seen it from both angles. Really quick, elevator speech. Tell some of these new folks the best piece of advice that you can give them.
Guys, I guess really just get out there and listen to your trainers. If you have questions, one thing I say, don't use social media as kind of your complaining platform. If you got questions, come in and ask us. Robert has an open door policy. That's why there's no offices here or in Salt Lake City or in Pittston. Approach people. One thing I can tell you, any business that you go into, the more people you know in a positive manner, the better your business is going to do. So get to know some of these people. If you have an issue out on the road, go meet that sales coordinator. If you have a problem with a customer, come back in, shake hands with them. Get to know some of these people and speak up.
All right. Hey, John, appreciate you coming up here. Thanks for being a good sport. True success story there. Like I said, started, as a driver, worked his way up, paid his dues. That's really what it's all about.
It really is. And, he hit on a lot of great topics, from a couple of perspectives there. And, going back to your fleet manager days, and I know I'm reflecting back on mine, in the unfortunate event of a cargo claim, maybe a temperature was maybe ran at the wrong setting or a piece count was off. Was that always your brand new drivers? Or in my situation, you see these guys that, hey, I've been here for 5 years, 10 years, had so many dispatches on meat loads, I don't need one, and then something happens.
I've picked up at this location countless times. I know exactly where to go. I know the lady that's at the desk giving me the bills, but unfortunately, sometimes that throws a curveball.
Absolutely. Get a process that works for you. Stick to it. Don't get complacent from it, and you will protect yourself.
All right. I think we've had a fantastic meeting today. We threw some curveballs at each other, so I really appreciate you, John, for being a good sport. And John Greeley, appreciate you coming up. Bill Sprague even made an appearance too. Thank you guys so much. As always, if we have any technology-related questions, we've got our experts over here, Brianne and Richard, so line up after the meeting and they can get you taken care of. John Greeley hit on something that I really like. We have such an open door policy. You have direct contact with just about anybody here in the company. Don't let social media be your fact-based research. Come on up and ask us. Believe it or not, we get paid to answer these questions. So don't be afraid to come up and approach us. So thank you guys for participating today. John's got on red. I see a bunch of the team over here had on red. My son said I did not have on red, but it's close enough. We do this every Friday. We do it proudly. RED, remember everyone deployed. We are a company that we, for the utmost respect for our men and women in uniform. So if you serve this country in the armed forces, if you would please stand for just a second and give us an opportunity to honor you. Thank you guys so much for your service. I'm gonna bring a veteran on up here, Mr. Steve Ruckey, Vice President of Safety and Vice President of Sales and Marketing as well. Good morning, brother. How you doing?
Good morning.
Good to see you. Good to
Thank
see
you very
you.
much
Thank
for
you.
what you do for us. Safety is our highest calling. That'll never change. And Carol, I appreciate you coming up here and sharing your concern about the inward cameras. Here's all I'm going to tell you. I think after you spend time with Dennis, you'll understand that our team did a lot of research, and we have no desire to be invasive into your camera and your life. What we really want to do is we want to be the safest fleet out there. And in many times, no matter how good you think you are, there are some habits that you pick up that are less than safe. And, we want everybody to be safe. That's our goal. So you all that are just joining us, don't ever forget, safety is our highest calling. And if for you folks that have been around here a long time, I think you understand that safety is more important than risking an accident to be on time. Yeah, we're proud of our on-time delivery. It does a lot of good things for our fleet. It does a lot of good things for you all, particularly when it comes to the bid process that many of our customers participate in. The service you give puts us at a different level. In other words, we don't have to match up low price to hang on to our volume. There's a huge delta between low price and low cost, and we want to be the low cost service provider. This past week, we had over 20 of our very best customers here. We had a customer advisory board meeting just like we have a driver advisory board meeting. Why do we do that? Because we need to listen. And we need to bond with our customers. We need to be a better partner for them. And we can share information with them that will make them a better partner for you all as well. I can tell you they really appreciate the service you give. We're in a great position. I know it's been a tough grind here for the last 18 months or so. We're seeing it on the improve. So things are picking up some. Not as quickly as we would want, but it is definitely picking up. We had an economist there that shared some information and actually was very much on target with what we feel and what we see within our fleet. So things are going to be good again, much better, improving. Freight will be better. So just hang in there until that does, and even after it does, let's work on the cost side of our businesses. John is a great fleet manager. He understands what it takes to be profitable in this business. Do not be a victim. And if you're a victim, it's because you chose not to talk to the right people. Please be transparent, be communicative with the prime folks. That's our whole deal, transparency. Transparency with our driver base, transparency with our customer base. So I want to thank you all very much for what you do. We're going to get on through this in really good shape. I don't know if you're watching some of the earnings from some of the public companies, but man, it's tough. And the earnings that they're showing will tell you that. So we're going to be there. We'll be the last man standing. Thank you all very much. I'm going to have Robert Lowe come up here. He started this thing about 54 years ago. He was a baby, swaddling teenager when he started it. How's that? How am I doing?
Matter of fact, I was.
Yeah, that's right. Robert, thank you very much.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Prime. You new folks, you made a good decision. And just stick around and give us the opportunity to prove that to indeed be very, very true. You know, we have a great management team. Most of them been here for years. We promote from within. We rarely, if ever, bring an executive from the outside. Why? Because they bring all them bad habits from other companies. We don't need those. We keep them here. We train them up. Even Paul Higgins here, even though he's hard-headed, he does learn. He's been here 30-some years. I don't know if he'll make another one, but he's here right now, and he's doing okay. He is totally committed. We're driver-centric. A lot of folks talk about, we love our drivers, but you got to look around and say, what does that mean? What does that mean? How are they treating their folks? What kind of amenities are they providing them? We have a nice place here, and we try to keep it clean for y'all. And we're very, very interested in, the total experience with Prime. Not only, it's a given. You got to go out there and you got to make some bank, right? You got to make some bank, and I have an amen on making some bank. Okay. But there's more to life than just money. So we want to treat you right. We want to always treat you with respect. Always treat you with respect because you deserve it for the sacrifices you make to run these little trucks up and down the road. Sleep, in the bunk rather than in your own bed. There are a lot of sacrifices you make in this industry. But I tell you, it can be very rewarding if you're associated with the right group of people that have the right values and head the right direction. So I appreciate each of you, and I thank you for being here. God bless you, and please be safe.